A few months ago, the government passed the Social Security Fairness Act, helping a few million people to increase their Social Security benefits. Unfortunately, this was just a tiny step in the right direction, and the far majority of Social Security beneficiaries were excluded. Guys, let me know in the comments if you were excluded from this bill. Personally, I don't think this is okay, but I want to clear the air on exactly who this benefits. You've heard of the Social Security Fairness Act, but you're probably confused as to who exactly this helps and exactly how. So we're going to discuss that in this video. We're also going to discuss some proposals that are on the board to help everyone on Social Security benefits, right? So we're going to talk about what Congress has in the pipeline in that regard. Guys, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. So again, first, let's take a look and see what exactly the Social Security Fairness Act is. I'm going to give you a quick summary as to who exactly that helps and exactly how. Then we're going to talk about what Congress is working on to hopefully increase benefits for everyone across the board down the road. But really quickly, let's take a look at a quick summary as to what the Social Security Fairness Act exactly is.
And financial advisor Catherine McCall. Thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Okay, so explain a little bit of the purpose of this law and who exactly it's going to be affecting.
So the purpose was to eliminate the government pension offset and the windfall elimination provision. So those are two provisions of the Social Security Administration that basically say if you were paying into Social Security, even if you paid in the full 10 years to make you an eligible employee, and then you got another job in the public sector as a teacher, as a firefighter, as a police officer, sorry, you're getting a pension from those guys and you're not going to get as much of a pension from Social Security, regardless of how much you put in. So this gets rid of that law and basically says, hey, you paid into this time, you at least get the amount that you would have earned otherwise in the form of Social Security, in addition to whatever it is you earned for your government pension.
So got to imagine that this will not come without some cost.
Just a little bit. Unfortunately, it's not written into the law specifically how we're going to pay for it. So, a little bit of a blank check. Government estimates right now are that this is going to...
Okay, again, this Social Security Fairness Act is only helping about 3 million people. So unfortunately, the far majority of you are excluded, which is completely unacceptable. I'm honestly furious that they're passing something that sure does help some people, which is great. We want everyone to get this extra help, but the far majority of people are excluded. Now, again, I'm going to dive into the details so you guys can fully understand the Social Security Fairness Act, how it works, and exactly who it's benefiting and how much. But first, I quickly want to point out that although you were most likely excluded from this, some officials like Bernie Sanders are working to put legislation on the table that could effectively raise benefits for most people across the board. Quick summary on this: Senator Bernie Sanders earlier this year reintroduced a measure that would increase Social Security benefits. He's been doing this for years, alongside with Senator Elizabeth Warren, Representatives Jan Schakowsky, Val Hoyle, titled the Social Security Expansion Act. It would expand Social Security benefits by $2,400 per year and ensure the federal program is funded for the next 75 years through a tax on households making more than $250,000 per year. This would not increase taxes on 90% of households, only increasing taxes somewhat on the top 10%. Now, at this point, guys, you've heard of this plan, the Social Security Expansion Act. I just wanted to give you a quick update that Bernie Sanders obviously has been pushing this for years. He reintroduced this a few months ago. So although you were most likely excluded from this Social Security Fairness Act increase, there is some hope. There are some things in the pipeline that hopefully will gain some steam. But again, I will keep you posted if we have more updates on that specific bill. Now, as far as the Social Security Fairness Act, let's talk about this. I want you guys to fully understand how this works, okay? You've seen the headlines, you know it exists, you know it's probably not helping you, but you probably don't fully understand how it works. So let's take a quick look. First of all, The reason that the reason they even had to pass the Social Security Fairness Act was to repeal laws that were in place that lowered people's benefits, basically penalizing them for getting pensions. Now, I want to give you guys the government's reason. The government's reason for this is, at least from their eyes, was that you get a progressive Social Security payment. What that means is when you work and pay into it, you get a larger return on investments, basically a larger Social Security check from those initial, dollars that you put into the system. As you put more, you get less and less of a return. And what that means, your first $1,174 of monthly average earnings are replaced at 90%. Then when you reach the next bend point, from $1,174 to $7,078 per month of income, that income is only replaced at 32% by Social Security. And then above that, above $7,078 per month of income, that income is only replaced by 15% of Social Security in the form of a payment, if that makes sense. So basically, the government's thought was, well, these people paid into Social Security, then got jobs where they got pensions that didn't pay into Social Security. So they basically shouldn't reap the largest benefit of Social Security, which is at the very beginning when you first pay into it, right? And in their eyes, they were basically double dipping. It's kind of confusing, but I hope that makes sense. But more specifically, to explain what the Social Security Fairness Act is, I want you guys to be fully educated on this. Now, this essentially repealed the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset, two provisions. Now, let's explain exactly what these are. The windfall elimination provision affected retirees who earned a pension from Social Security covered government jobs, but also worked in other jobs where they did pay into the Social Security system at some point for the full 10 years to qualify. Now, it reduced the Social Security retirements or SSDI benefit that they received based off of their own work record, like I just explained. In their eyes, like I said, this was to prevent double dipping, getting a full government pension, and full Social Security benefits. Again, full meaning based off of those at least 10 years of working. Now, that was the windfall elimination provision. The government pension offset affected people who received a government pension and were also getting spousal benefits or survival benefits. So this is almost an indirect version of the windfall elimination provision, right? The windfall elimination provision affected those directly who worked and then also got pensions. The government pension offset essentially did the same thing, but to people getting spousal Social Security and survivor benefits. And in this case, it reduced their spousal or survival benefit often to $0 for spousal and survivor benefits by 2/3 of the government pension amount, right? Now, this was bad because this would hurt widows that were used to getting their own pension, plus their partner was getting a Social Security benefit. Unfortunately, that partner would pass away. Now they're left as a widow with no survival benefit. That's terrible, right? So that was definitely something that needed to be fixed. Again, this was essentially a double dipping effect that they were trying to prevent. Now, like I said, these are the people that are benefiting from the Social Security Fairness Act. Now, the Social Security Fairness Act was a bipartisan bill that was just approved last year. Now, this is expected to help about 3 million people between both provisions being repealed, the WEP and the GPO. Now, the WEP, the average monthly increase is going to be $360. Now, the GPO repeal is going to be even larger. So people getting spousal and survival benefits are getting on average between $700 and $1,100 per month. Again, you were most likely excluded from this, and this is completely not okay. I understand that this is a small step in the right direction. They did help close to 3 million people, but that's, I believe, about 3% of people on Social Security. And it's not okay that they're doing these small plans that help a very small fraction of people, but then leave the other 97% without any increase in benefit at all. And don't get me wrong, if you're in the top, maybe 5 or 10%, maybe you don't even need your Social Security benefit. You're getting your dividends from your stocks. You have pensions as well. You have 401ks. Maybe you don't need them. But for the bottom 50, 60, 70%, they're excluded from this. And again, if you guys were excluded from this, please let me know in the comments. I think it's completely not okay. And I just want to send the message that even though this was a small step in the right direction, it was actually a large step for a small amount of people. Again, those people that were excluded from this initially on spousal and surviving benefits, they're getting an average increase of between $700 and $1,200 per month. That is massive. And that is honestly what they should be doing for millions of more people that are getting small Social Security benefits. If you're getting 1,000, 2,000 or less, in my opinion, you should be getting an increase like this as well. Not only that, these folks are also getting retroactive payments back to the beginning of 2024. Can you imagine getting these massive increases and then having them be retroactive all the way to the beginning of 2024? The reason this is happening is because this was passed at the end of 2024. And like a lot of these laws, when they pass them in a certain year, they make it retroactive to the beginning. So again, these people are getting a lump sum payment, and most of these people actually just got their lump sum payments over the last couple of years. So again, just to summarize, who qualifies for this Social Security Fairness Act, which is giving larger Social Security checks to millions of people? It's those that were affected by the WEP, people who earned a pension from non-Social Security covered employment, usually a state or local government job, who also had a Social Security record, having worked in the private sector for a while, earning Social Security credits, but they had fewer than 30 years covered under Social Security. If some people work both, like for example, my father-in-law actually worked a pension job through the government for I believe 30 years or so, but also had his own job that he had in the private sector, getting Social Security, getting both, really. So he was never affected by this because he had the 30 years of work experience under Social Security, meaning he wasn't affected by that. So those are the people essentially qualified, people who got government pensions, but also worked enough to qualify for Social Security in the public sector before that, and basically were getting penalized for getting a government pension. That penalty has been taken away. Also, for those who are getting spousal benefits or survivor benefits for the same reason, again, let's say you got a government pension, you were also going to get a spousal benefit or a survival benefit. You wouldn't get it, or you would get a small one because your government pension would reduce from the Social Security benefit, if that makes sense. Those people are being helped the most. So widows in these situations and spouses in these situations are being helped on average, which is crazy, by $700 to $1,200 per month. So if you have mixed employment with some in Social Security covered jobs and some non-Social Security covered jobs, this is going to restore most of your benefits. If you have a spouse in the same situation getting spousal or survival benefits, this will essentially restore theirs as well. So I hope that kind of makes sense, guys. I know this is a little complicated, but this is affecting close to 3 million people. It's estimated 2.1 million people that were affected by the WEP provision, and 750,000 people affected by the GPO. These people are going to have their average payment increased by $360 per month if you were affected by the WEP, on average up to $587, an average of $700 for those getting spousal benefits, and an average of $1,200 for those getting surviving benefits. Now, I don't know about you, the thing that makes me the happiest about this, although it's frustrating because it leaves out so many people, it excludes so many people. And again, guys, please subscribe if you like this content, and please check out our partner chapter, the phone number on the screen here. If you don't know, healthcare is one of the most important decisions you'll make in your retirement. My partner chapter will help you compare plans so you can decide which plan is the right fit for you. So call that number on the screen there. Tell them Andrew sent you. But again, survivors getting this additional $1,200 boost, that is a massive increase. I'm happy about that. I just think it's a huge problem that they're excluding millions of people. I believe 70 million people are on Social Security benefits. This only helps about 3 million. And again, let me know in the comments if you agree. Again, they were also getting these lump sum back paid payments. I believe a lot of people were getting around $5,000 or $6,000 as a lump sum. Completely insane. But guys, with that said, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Do you think the Social Security Fairness Act was a good bill? Let me know in the comments if you do. Do you think it's just unfair because it excludes way too many people? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will keep you posted as things develop. Again, we have good news, we have bad news. We have things with Social Security, like Bernie Sanders proposing the Social Security Expansion Act. We did have some progress with the Social Security Fairness Act, but again, it just wasn't enough for enough people. We have tons of news coming out with the economy, with Trump's tax bill they're trying to approve. So please subscribe. Please like this content. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing well, and I hope to see you on the next video.